And I'm Heather Branch here with Mike to ask him for his ideas on what you can be doing now to better prepare for your retirement years. You have worked for decades earning and saving, and now you want to know that those savings are going to work for you in the years ahead. So we got to dive into that conversation, dive into your savings, get into a plan that is going to give you that added security in your retirement years, creating income streams, all the other things. Mike, there's a lot to do. I'm very glad that you're here. There's a lot to do. Nobody should have to do this by themselves. I certainly will not. In 20 years, you and I will be talking. Don't you go and retire on me.
I got you. Remember Dumb and Dumber when he's like, don't you go dying on me now, to the old lady. Oh, man.
MyLifePlanFinancial.com is where you can go to start the conversation with Mike and his team. We also have links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there or, again, find us at MyLifePlanFinancial.com. So I wanted to have a conversation with you about the idea of regrets and spending regrets. Listen, every single person has bought something and regretted it later. Hopefully, for you, it has been over a purchase of like maybe $100 or less. Hopefully you didn't have to learn a hard lesson about something that cost $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on up.
Right.
What I did want to point out prior to getting into this conversation, we actually did a podcast just a few weeks ago talking about 4 splurges that you will not regret in retirement. And so that's why I thought this would be an interesting conversation, kind of the opposite side of that. So if you want to go look up Michigan's Retirement Coach and scroll back on a few episodes, you will find the regrets maybe some might have regrets, but for the most part, you won't regret spending on retirement. But in the case of where we do need to be smarter about our money, there was this article in the Wall Street Journal talking about readers admitting they'd bought some big ticket items only to regret it later. They talked about things like a fancy wristwatch, a mountain cabin, very big in the state of Michigan, an RV trailer. I think RVs sound like a great idea, particularly for retirees. And then you use it once or twice and you're like, this ain't for me.
Right.
Luxury clothing. I may or may not have had a few items in my closet that I'm like, wore it once, never again.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, the idea of treating yourself, you definitely want to have some of that, particularly in your retirement years. Again, you work so hard to earn and save, but it turns out they weren't ready for the expense. Maybe they fell out of love with their possession. But thinking about the work that you do, somebody has come to you. They want your help managing their money in retirement years. Maybe a lot of people must have big dreams about the money they're going to spend in their retirement. Do they not?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of stuff on the someday bucket, and you retire and it becomes today. And so there's some visions for the future. Some things aren't always terrible. They're just not right. And so we don't know until we get into them. I had one guy who for years, they loved going down to Cocoa Beach. That was their snowbirding place.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, we're going to go down here. This will be our permanent place. And they buy a home in Cocoa Beach, keep their place in Michigan, but they go down and visit. For the next 5 years, during the months when they're there, it never got above like 60 degrees. And he was like, I hate
Cocoa
this.
Beach?
Cocoa Beach. It was brutal.
Ooh.
And he was just like, and it was a very particular window that they always go down for. And so he was like, it never was like this. And then I bought a house, and it's like I brought Michigan weather with me.
Right.
And as long as he rented, it was fine. And so then he sold that place and then immediately started renting everywhere instead of buying. A lot of times that's a great opportunity. You retire and you say, I want a place down south. Okay, maybe just rent for several years, find the right place, try Arizona, try different places. Don't go to the Panhandle during the cold months of Florida because it never gets warm.
It gets cold there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got to go down south. So factor those things in. If you want to do an RV, I get it. A lot of mid-Michigan people love to RV and travel across the country. It's a super cool thing. DoRVshare.com is not a sponsor, but do RV Share
it's not
for
a sponsor
season.
Yet. If RVshare.com wants to sponsor us, give us
For those of you out there at RV Share, I'd like to put in a quick word. I've been using RV Share now for 3 years, and my family loves it. You see, when you want to go, like it's such a commercial, but the reality is we've used RV Share for the last 3 years because there's one annual camping trip we go on with a bunch of friends and family.
Okay.
And that's the one time a year we go camping, which tells me we don't camp enough to buy a camper.
That's
However, we don't tent camp anymore. And when you go the last week of July and you're going up north and it is hot and sticky and humid, I want a air conditioned RV.
Mhm.
So instead of buying a camper, instead of renting or doing anything else, we just rent a RV,
Mhm.
and it was delivered to the site by the person. They can't always do that, but it was delivered and set up at the site. So my wife and kids and I
So you just
drive
drove up in your car?
in our car. We brought a little trailer with all of our toys, our bikes, and our fishing poles and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And we show up, and the camper's there. We unloaded and we were moved in within about 15 minutes. And
That's
we rented it.
awesome.
And it was like $250 a night, something like that, which sounds expensive.
Not for
However,
a family of 6.
no, there's 6 of us, which means everywhere we
Yeah.
go, they make us get 2 hotel rooms unless we get
Yeah.
a suite, which is $200 a night. And
Yeah.
so it's not that
Easy.
far off. Also, I didn't have to tow a camper 2 hours up north. I didn't have to do that to my car or pay the gas for it. I didn't have to set it up. The convenience fee is easy. So we're there for a week. We're out about $1,500. And that's the one camping thing of the year. And because I have air conditioning, because we have nice, comfy beds to sleep in and all that stuff, it's a wonderful experience, which means we look forward to it every year. I promise you, if we went in a tent, it'd be one and done on that trip. We wouldn't do it again because I
Right.
wouldn't like it. And then you go buy all this stuff to go tent camping and then only use it once a year. It doesn't make any sense.
You know,
So,
and let me add in the idea while we're on the subject of renting,
Yeah.
renting beach houses, renting RVs. When it comes to stuff, I don't think you can rent shoes, but there's definitely websites out there where you can rent. And this might be more
Clothing.
for the ladies. I'm surprised there's not like a men's designer watch
that seems
website where you can
very sexist
rents.
to say that this is only for the women.
No, I've never seen. I think that there. Obviously, I don't go looking for clothes for men to
There's
rent.
not.
But
No, you're right.
men
It's
don't
only-
really go through clothes as much as women do. But there are literally sites where you can go and rent designer clothes. They have subscriptions where you can get a couple of things delivered to you a month, and you can wear them for a couple weeks, and then you can send them back. So this idea, like we were talking, one of the big ticket items is fancy wristwatches. That's what I was saying. Somebody out there, take that website idea and get your little side hustle in retirement. I bet men would rent designer wristwatches. That's a little business
I think
idea.
some people would. Yeah. So for me, on the other hand, I'm the opposite. So just recently this winter, I'm someone who will wear something until Kimberly yells at me to get a new one. Like I'll just keep wearing it. So
that's okay.
I had 3 pairs of jeans that I bought about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. I've been wearing those 3 pairs of jeans the whole time. And this winter, I got down to 1 pair of jeans, and I just had this 1 pair. And Kimberly goes, "Why don't you just go buy some more jeans?" I'm like, I just don't want to deal with it, whatever else. Until eventually, I literally just went to Meijer, which is just, for those if you're not watching, not from, it's like a better version of Walmart, right?
Okay.
And then, so I just bought some whatever Wrangler jeans I found there. And Kimberly's like, "Why did you wait so long?" I'm like, "I just hate shopping. I hate the idea." So if someone would deliver nice stuff to my house and I could rent it, I would be up for it because I wouldn't have to shop.
Stitch Fix. But that's the thing is I'm looking for high-end designer stuff. That's the thing is you got
is like they're going to pick out an outfit for you and it shows up, right? Now, if you don't like it, you can return it. But the only thing worse than shopping is returning stuff, repackaging, sending things back.
That's
I'd
fair.
rather be like, all right,
I'll just keep it.
You win this month, you win this month, and I just give it away to somebody.
I bet. And there are definitely a lot of people in this world that they hate returns so much that there's a stack of items in their house that's just wasted money because they don't feel like returning it.
Going to like a UPS store or a FedEx store, finding a box, buying a box, put it in, tape it, print off this.
All right. So all of this point, though, it brings us together to this point because the idea of A, seeking alternate options so that B, we don't blow our budget because leads us to point C. In retirement, you can't afford to blow your budget on a mistake. So when somebody comes to you saying, "I want to do this thing," my wife, my husband and I, we have dreamt about this our whole lives, buying this or building this beautiful lake house.
Yep.
How does that process work for somebody that comes to you, one of your clients getting ready into retirement, already in retirement? How do you walk them through that process? How do you figure out if it works?
Yeah. Well, the goal of a financial advisor for retirement people is not to say no. It's just to figure out the right decisions to say yes to and to help you figure those things out. So someone comes in and says, "Hey, we're thinking about buying an RV." That's great. I think you should explore having an RV. Have you guys ever owned one before? No. What type of vehicle do you have? We have 2 cars. All right. Well, you're going to have to buy a truck, a big truck, to pull this RV. So this isn't a $50,000 expense. This is like a $100,000 expense. And we start running through the numbers of, Do you finance? Do you purchase? Well, interest rates are high, right? But you can never get that money back in an IRA. So we want to explore the different options. We have software and tools that when they come in, they say, we're thinking about doing this. Great. We run these scenarios. If you finance, if you pay cash, if you wait 3 years, if you rent for 2 years and then maybe buy in the third year, if you want to go down snowbirding, what type of budget can we build in on top of your regular budget to cover it every year? And we go through and figure those numbers out, because a lot of times we don't want to have this thought process of, I have to do this or I can't do that. It's just figuring out the right things to do. And part of retirement is exploring this new life. It's exploring the opportunity, the freedom, the lack of schedule, the lack of responsibility. It's exploring that and figuring out and finding a way to make it work. But it has to be done with the eye towards the future, with our hand on the present. We want to use long-term planning to make our short-term decisions. And that's one of the greatest things you can do. So we use these tools and these softwares to go through and say, and they're especially built for retirees. We go through and say, if we do this, here's the results. If we do that, here's the results. And that way it's not an emotional decision. It's just, you want to do this? You guys have talked it over? Great. Let's figure out the best way to do it in a way that doesn't make us 10 to 15 years from now come back and say, crap, if we had just done it a little different. Our job as the advisor is to plan ahead so well that we take the regrets out of the decision. You may buy an RV and decide 2 years later that you're not RV people. That's okay. If we can do the decisions the right way up front, we build in a plan that says, if in 2 years you hate this,
you bail,
and you sell it, and you take a 30% bath on it because now you're selling a used thing, whatever. Okay. How do we deal with that?
We plan for it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's software and tools to do it. And we walk through all those things in advance. Because again, retirement is exploration. It shouldn't be just a fear-based, we can't do that or we've never done that. Good. Go do the things you've never done. Just have a plan that says, if it goes well, here's where we sit. If it goes poorly, here's where we sit. And this is how we build a successful life together.
Right. MyLifePlanFinancial.com is the website.
Yeah, that's on the website, there's a button that says start your retirement roadmap today. So if people are watching this or whatever, they're listening and they say, hey, I want to work through some of these decisions. If you go to the website, there's a button that says start your retirement roadmap. And for the RV world, it's the perfect term. It's literally the path, the map that we're going to map out for the rest of your life that says from here to wherever you end up, here's how we get there. And along the way, if we want to insert these new stops, these new destinations, RV purchase, classic car purchase, cottage purchase, new clothing, remodel the kitchen, whatever it is, we build those into the map. And that way we can see, if we do this, here's the long-term results. And that's the conversation. So if they click MyLifePlanFinancial.com, click the button that says start your retirement roadmap today, we'll sit down and have that conversation.
Because the whole idea of getting to your retirement, you don't want to have the fear that maybe you've waited your whole life to do this thing, but because there is always that question mark. What if it doesn't work out? What if we don't like it?
Yeah.
So the idea of knowing that you've already crunched the numbers, there's a yin and yang to a big decision like that. That's what you're saying. Like, okay, you can do it. And if it doesn't work out, this is the plan. If it does work out, you continue on this plan. It's just about having the conversations ahead of time. It sounds like
we're afraid that the mistake will be fatal.
Yeah.
That's the biggest fear. The fear of failure being fatal. If we can understand that the decision's not fatal, if you buy an RV and you hate it, right? You spend one season in it and you hate it. Okay, what's my next option? Well, you can sell it or you can rent it to people who go on once a year trips up north and they'll pay you a lot of money per night to rent it from you. And it turns out that 1 week pays for 3 months worth of
it's a
payments.
Second income stream.
It's a second income stream. Right. And this is what we do with people. We say,
turning lemons into lemonade.
You want to move? Great. Should you sell your house? Should you rent your house? Should you Airbnb it? The world is different than what it used to be 20, 30 years ago. It is so easy to turn an asset into income now. But yet, if we're not used to it, and if we're not living in those models, it's hard to recognize the moments.
Got it.
Because I'm afraid of, I made the mistake. I've joked the last couple of years. I'm like, we camp once a year, but I may buy 2 campers. I've seen it's so hard to rent an RV in the summertime because everybody's renting them. I may just buy 2 and start renting them.
Right. It's a nice
and
little
then
side hustle.
use one of them for my 1 week a year. People are like, my neighbors gonna be like, this guy loves camping. I hate it.
I do not.
But I do once a year, but I like making passive income.
Note to anybody who has bought an RV and now has questions. We're here to help. We're here to help.
MyLifePlanFinancial.com.
We're here to help, not just with that, but obviously the whole idea of regrets in retirement, helping you avoid any of those situations. You're not stuck in any one situation, working to help you figure out how to plan ahead and then how to adjust that plan as you move through and realize that maybe some changes need to be made. That is the whole idea of having that right plan in place. And Mike and his team are here to help you with that. MyLifePlanFinancial.com, again, is our website. We also have links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there or visit us at MyLifePlanFinancial.com.